So my number 4 is Resident Evil 6.
Oh, yeah.
I've gone back to it. I've been playing the Chris campaign.
Best one.
I've been a bit up and down on it so far. Played like the sort of first chapter and a half, which is a decent chunk, and I can get why people have immediately jumped on its back, because it's like all explosions and helicopters and army people and all that sort of stuff. But I kind of took it more as a bit of a parody and a pastiche, or one or the other of those types of games, rather than directly trying to copy them and be like them, even though it kind of is. I don't know, it certainly didn't bother me that much, and the reason why is it still really felt like modern Resident Evil. And yes, it's very shooty, but I have to say I'm playing on veteran instead of normal, which I don't know, I haven't played on normal yet, but it makes the fights quite tactical, and you have to use all the moves in your arsenal to just get through your standard shooter. You know, the throwing yourself to your back, rolling around, the crouch, the slide. You need all of that shit. The quick shot, which is a really cool mechanic. A lot of the real negative stuff I heard about the game doesn't mention any of those things. And if the game was a standalone game and it wasn't Resident Evil, you know, people would be using all the mechanics. So
yeah, but it doesn't explain most of them.
It does a piss poor job of explaining them. So you do have to read that that article that I tweeted. I'll tweet it again in case people missed it off the Chet and John's Twitter. But if you do start using those moves, it does become quite an interesting shooter, and especially as the enemies you're fighting in the Chris campaign, the way they mutate, it's like a dynamically shifting battlefield. And I had a couple of like real standout shootouts in the Chris campaign so far that have been really super tense, and I really had to use my brain as well as my trigger finger, for want of a better phrase, to succeed. And then there's a couple of bits which were a bit shit, like the camera's a bit dodgy in the whole game for some reason. It just makes me feel a bit queasy when I play it. And there's one bit like towards the end of the first chapter where you're rescuing hostages, which is just a bit of a pain in the ass. But I'm just not hating it. I like it, mate. I like Resident Evil 6. I'm sure I'm going to continue liking Resident Evil 6. And by all accounts, some of the best stuff is later on in the game. So, I just don't hate it. I hate to think that a lot of people have been getting on the bandwagon and just jumping on the fact that it's shit because it's not Resident Evil 4. And it's like, yeah, it isn't as good as Resident Evil 4, but it's damn sight better than 5, man.
Yeah, it is. I'm with you completely, and I do think people have been short-sighted when they've been talking about it. Do you think, they discovered DLC on the disc?
Yeah.
Do you think Capcom's intention was to give that away for nothing?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know why I bothered.
I think that was a wise PR move to do.
Yes, yeah, indeed.
The whole DLC on the disc thing, I've never really made up my mind about that, to be honest. Whether or not I care.
To be honest, I haven't either really given it. I think it is a little bit shady.
Yeah, my initial reaction every time I think about it is that shithouse. But then I just think, well, is it just an easier way for them to do the thing that they would have done anyway? It's not like you were ever going to get that content. I don't know. Like I say, I haven't come to a conclusion, because ultimately you can't have an opinion on everything. And eventually I just stop caring once I start thinking about things too much.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know. It's an interesting topic, and I've actually seen arguments from both sides that are reasonably compelling, but I don't have the time to get involved in it.
That's it. If I'm going to think about it long enough to get annoyed or passionate about it, then I'll be missing out on doing something actually productive with my day. So that's my opinion on it.
Genuine. But yeah, Resident Evil 6, underrated to fuck.
Yeah, it's going to take me forever to play through it, but it is. I'd say that is the game that's keeping me from playing Borderlands at the moment, because there's other stuff later on the list which are more essential. But that's the one that I put on when I took Borderlands out. I was like, do you know what? They're both actiony, but this is more my jam. Oh no, I'm not even going to say that. This is more my thing.
What were you going to say?
When people say this is my jam, that's really annoying.
Oh dear, yeah.
Yeah, I stopped myself, so I'll let myself off.
Watch it top list of most underrated games ever in about a year. That's just going to constantly start happening. People are going to go to, I saw it for 20 quid, I'd heard it was terrible, I thought I'd have a look, and oh my god, it's actually really good. We got that to look forward to.
You've played the Mercs mode?
A little bit. It's as good as it always was.
Yeah. I can imagine that being quite good with the quick shot, because that seems really good for crowd dispersal.
And with a co-op partner.
Yes. Unfortunately, I've not played with a co-op partner yet, but I'm a lonely man.